Hello and welcome to the back nine breakdown of the Arnold Palmer Invitational, round one. In a shocking turn of events, John Rahm finds himself at the top of the leaderboard once more. He shot 7 under par today, gaining the majority of his strokes on approach, but also gaining 4.4 strokes around and on the greens. He gained negative zero point 0.5 strokes off the tee, which is something we don't typically see from the spicy Spaniard. He'll be teeing off at 7:38 tomorrow morning and will be $11,300, gaining 63 points a day at 11% ownership in the DFS world. Tomorrow, projections for his ownership will be 45 rough percent, depending on what contest you'll be playing in, and bookmakers have him at plus 150 to win the event. That, to me, seems very fair, as he's been doing that far too often. Cameron Young, Kurt Kitayama, and Chris Kirk all find themselves T2nd, 2 shots behind John Rahm at -5. Cameron Young did things a little differently today, gaining 3 strokes around the greens and on them. He'll be teeing off tomorrow at 1 p.m., which is in the middle of a rough forecast. He gained 51 points today at $8,700 with 24% ownership tag. People expected this to happen. Tomorrow, in that weather, projected ownership will be lower for the man. Kurt Kitayama, -5 as well. He gained 2.5 strokes on approach, looking wonderful going forward. He'll be teeing off at 8:28 tomorrow morning. He's $7,100 tomorrow, 54 points scored today at 1% ownership. He was the score of the day. Odds makers have him at 60 to 1 to win the event. Chris Kirk, -5 as well, as we said, gaining 3-point-something strokes on the greens and around them. The guy's just a magician, apparently, on the greens. What will happen tomorrow when he tees off at 12:39? We don't know. He will be $7,900 after gaining 50 points today at 14% ownership. That weather, again, will impact his ownership projections, probably sending them south to around about 10% ownership. Patrick Cantley leads off the T5 guys, who are about 8 of them in this range, all sitting at -4. Cantley lost half a stroke around the greens today because he had a fried egg up against the lip of a bunker. Things you just hate to see on the golf course. He did, however, putt fantastically on Bermuda, which people pretended wasn't a thing he could do well this week. However, going forward, he'll be teeing off at 7:49 tomorrow, $8,900, and he gained 53 points today in the fantasy realm. He was 13% owned. Xander Schauffele, also T5, Patrick Cantley's best buddy. I'm assuming they might be playing together if they play well tomorrow. He gained 3 strokes on and around the greens and lost the majority of his strokes barely off the tee. He'll be teeing off at 7:38, $9,200, and he gained 45 points today. The bookmakers have him slated at 13 to 1, just like Cantley at 12 to 1 too. Scotty Scheffler gained a measly 0.4 strokes on the greens today, with the majority of his scoring coming from tee to green. He will be going off in the middle of the monsoon/blizzard/wind tunnel event tomorrow afternoon at 12:28 p.m. local time in Orlando. $10,800 is his price tag after scoring 46 points today at a whopping 36% ownership. Keegan Bradley, another -4 today, gaining 2.5 strokes on the greens and losing 0.6 around them. He'll be going off at 8:22 tomorrow morning at $7,700, which is a price tag far too cheap for the man that's sitting at T5 and playing some good golf of late. He'll be sitting around about 30-something% owned, which is going to be a scary sight for most DFS players. Odds makers have Keegan Bradley sitting at 33 to 1 to win the event, where Scotty Scheffler is plus 750. He's going off in that wind, remember, so don't overthink things. Jordan Spieth, -4, T5. He lost strokes putting. Absolute shocker. No, it's not. If you've paid attention to Jordan Spieth's putting, he doesn't putt well anymore. But he gained 2.2 strokes around the green and a whopping 4.5 of them tee to green. He will be going off in the middle of the wind tomorrow too at 12:39. He's $8,200 and he gained 46 points in DFS world today. Things will be looking tough for him in the DFS world ownership-wise, and he'll be 6%, but that's mainly due to his horrible tee time. Aaron Rai gained 3.6 strokes on approach, which we most likely won't see happen again. That's way above his baseline, and he'll be going off in some terrible conditions too at 1:34 p.m. local time. He'll be $6,400 after gaining himself 45 points today at 2% ownership. Ricky Fowler, a crowd favorite, gained a casual 4.5 strokes putting and chipping today, which is not something you will be looking to repeat, Ricky. He also lost on ball striking about 0.3 strokes and will be going off tomorrow at 7:49 a.m. local time. His price tag is $7,800, and we can expect Ricky's ownership to get to around about 30% if his 9% in this afternoon's wave is anything to go off of. Adam Schenk gained 3.5 strokes putting today, which I don't think anybody will do tomorrow inside this top bracket here. We have him going off at 11:55 a.m., which is going to be in the middle of that wind again at $6,400, round about 4 or 5% ownership. Guys that never made the cut today, as in finishing inside the top 10, we've got ourselves some famous people that are sitting at T23 or worse. Max Homer at -2, gained 1.2 strokes putting, but lost a stroke around the greens. He'll be going off tomorrow at 8 a.m. at $9,600 after scoring 41.5 points today in fantasy. His ownership, because of that early tee time, will probably be pushing close to 20%. Tony Finau in the same position. His price tag at $8,800, very similar kind of outing for Max Homer today. It's T23 as well, -2. He'll be finding himself at $8,800, 7:44 a.m. tee off time, and he'll be pushing 20% ownership. Matt Fitzpatrick couldn't sink a putt. That's okay. He doesn't typically do that. So he'll be playing better golf going forward. But the 2.3 strokes on approach is something we haven't seen from the British ball striker of late. We'll see what he can get up to as the US Open champion, going off in the afternoon at 12:28 p.m., $8,500 price tag, and his round one ownership of 19% will be very much diminished in that weather. Tyrrell Hatton, the spicy Brit, the one that I'm not a big fan of. I shouldn't be saying that, as this is a public broadcast and communication, but it is what it is. He lost ball striking today on approach. The rest of his game seemed to carry him through his muttering and hattering. The Mad Hatter Hurl. He is at $8,600 tomorrow and will be going off at 8 a.m. off the 10th tee. His ownership will also be pushing 20% because he's in the AM wave. Jason Day survived the day without breaking his back, which is always a great sign. He gained around the greens, which is something that he typically does not do, losing on approach and putting, which are two things that he typically does well. Look for a bounce back from Jay Day going tomorrow off the 10th tee. No, I'm lying. Off the first tee at 12:50. He'll be going off at $9,100 and most likely around 10% ownership. Keith Mitchell, a crowd favorite, let some people down today, sitting in T50 at a even par 72. Lost putting, which is something we don't typically see from the Mitch man, but he'll be going off bright and early at 7:11 tomorrow AM at $8,300, and look for his ownership to be pushing 20% because of his fantastic tee time. Rory McIlroy, don't know what he got up to, losing around the greens for the 9th straight time since arriving on US soil in 2023. Things are not looking good for the man on the greens, but he can have a potential bounce back going off at 8 a.m. tomorrow, $10,200 price tag, and he, as somebody with immense upside, will be sitting around about 20% ownership too. Colin Morikawa goes off late in the morning at 7:38. I don't know what I'm talking about, but he'll be sitting at about 6% ownership after an abysmal round today. I'm not looking to play the man in wind. He doesn't necessarily do well when doing that. He's 2 over par. Let's check in with Back Nine Bozo and what weather report. Thank you, Byron. Things look green and blue in the morning. Tomorrow, starting with some orange and red in the afternoon. Oh, well, that equates to, I think, 8 miles per hour in the mornings of wind, which is not bad. And then we've got a casual 37 per hour mile gusts starting round about noon, right after I've had my ham and cheese sandwich. It's going to be windy.